What's up, YouTube? So, as the Trump administration nears its end, the attempts of Trump and his supporters to keep him in the White House, despite Joe Biden winning the election, has been like watching an episode of bad reality TV. Cringy, unhinged, and it leaves you feeling a little dirty for having watched. Recently, at one of Trump's campaign rallies, or one of his coping sessions, he declared conservatives to be the real victims. So, let's get into
Right
it.
here in Georgia, they want you to be quiet. They want you to go away, but we don't go away. We don't go away.
I honestly find the idea of a conservative being quiet or going away incredibly unrealistic. I think I would sooner rather believe in Santa Claus than a quiet conservative. These guys are always going on about how they're the silent majority. It's more like the screeching minority.
It's the biggest open secret in America that Democrats cheat in elections. This year, by sending out 65 million mail-in ballots, they perpetrated the largest fraud in the history of our country. Democrat officials and politicians in every swing state systematically weakened every measure to combat election fraud.
Yeah, except all the court cases keep getting thrown out for not having any standing, even when the judges are Trump-appointed judges. And it's not really surprising when you spend months telling your supporters not to use mail-in voting that, surprise, surprise, all the mail-in votes were for Biden. It's almost like there's a correlation there or something.
They ensured that there were no identity checks, no signature checks. I want to check a signature, please. I'm sorry, we don't let you do that. No eligibility checks, no nothing.
Signature checks and eligibility checks? What is he even talking about here? That would slow the process down incredibly. Do these people think every time you show up to the voting booth that the signature expert from Pawn Stars is going to come out and analyze your signature? How would you even maintain something like that? It could only be selectively enforced. Oh, you're looking pretty tan there, hombre. You sure you weren't an illegal immigrant? Let me check your signature real quick. These people are so full of shit.
Every single one of you know that if these ballots are properly audited, if the signatures and envelopes were examined, if the envelopes were correlated to the votes, because you'll find there are far more ballots than there are envelopes. All you have to do is count them up. How many ballots do you have? How many envelopes do you have? And if the voter rolls are studied, in other words, studied to check the signature, Ms. Smith, oh, it's a totally different signature from 2 years ago, from 6 years ago, from 10 years ago. What's that all about?
My God, this incoherent babbling and gesturing at absolutely nothing. This man sounds like a senile old used car salesman who's hungover and going on about his ex-wife. My God, if you ever want proof that we don't live in a meritocracy, just look at this man. He's a billionaire and the president of the United States. This bloated, sweaty hog is the leader of our country. And no offense to used car salesmen, by the way, some, I assume, are good people.
We will find that hundreds of thousands of ballots were illegally cast in your state and all over the country, by the way. More than enough to give us a total historic victory.
You know, I'm sure if you say it enough times, it'll become true. Ultimate postmodern president.
This is our country that they are taught, and you know this and you see it, but they're trying to take it from us through rigging, fraud, deception, and deceit. That's what we saw in the election. That's what's going on, and it's happening right now in our country, and we will do something about it, and we're going to do something about it quickly.
Who is this they, and what exactly are these chuds going to do about anything? You know, I'm sure if Trump was really pressed to it, he would say they refers to the Democrats broadly. But for his supporters, they is a stand-in for so many things. It can be the satanic Illuminati, it can be the Jews, the reptilians, whatever. And as far as we're going to do something about it, we're going to do something about it. These people are absolutely chomping at the bit to do everything they can to subvert the will of the American voters. Absolutely disgusting.
And we're going to be watching on January 5th. We're going to be watching every element of what they do, this fraud that they've perpetrated on our country. We're going to be watching it more closely than any election has ever been watched. Hopefully our legislatures and the United States Supreme Court will step forward and save our country.
Thankfully, the courts didn't back Trump's coup attempt. Our institutions held, and our democracy remains. We're blessed for this. It could have been a lot worse.
I used to say, without borders, we don't have a country. I can say also, without an honest voting system, without an electoral process that works and that's honest and fair, we don't have a country.
He didn't really say much of anything there, except gesture towards a conspiracy that through voter fraud he lost the election. But I do like the fact that he gestured towards borders and the fuck Mexican narrative. Republicans eat that shit up. It is what got him elected in 2016, after all.
We need to check every single signature in the presidential and senatorial elections. And right now we have to get out to vote for David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler, to show the radical left that we will never surrender, we will only win. We're going to win. We always win. Somehow we find a way to win.
Yeah, guys, make sure you get out there and vote for Kelly Loeffler, a woman who's married to the CEO of the stock exchange. She recently came under fire for insider trading from a closed-door Senate meeting about the coronavirus in January. She dumped a bunch of stock in businesses that she knew would be affected by the pandemic. This woman is the absolute height of corruption. Versus her opponent, Raphael Warnock, a reverend and someone who, by all accounts, does everything he can to help his community. And I love this inflection that Trump does with his voice, just as a quick aside. We're gonna find a way to win. Like, why does he do this? Does he actually go out of his way to try to sound like a creep?
Now is not the time to retreat. Now is the time to fight harder than ever before. So don't listen to my friends. Just go out. Just go out. And you know what they're saying? They're saying, we want you to fix the system. We're going to fix the system. But the system will be fixed when these people get in. They'll get in and we'll fix the system. Because we're all victims. Everybody here, all these thousands of people here tonight, they're all victims, every one of you. The next great victory for our movement begins right here on January 5th, and then we are going to win back the White House. We're going to win it back.
Oh man, I had to save the best for last. Pure gold. You have to absolutely love Trump just coming right out and admitting that conservatives have the biggest victim complex in the entire world. He gets up there on stage at one of his rallies and says, I'm a victim, everyone in this room is a victim. Oh, so good. You know, it's been pointed out by a lot of very smart people that if you look at their actions and their rhetoric, it's actually conservatives who have a big chip on their shoulder and a victim complex. You know, in reality, it's people on the left who are accused of this. Oh, the blue hair SJW is getting worked up over nothing, you know. But in reality, people on the left will say something like, healthcare is a human right. Or we should end police brutality, and then you'll see something like Black Lives Matter formed. Right-wingers will then gesture to this and say, oh, look at them getting worked up and hysterical over nothing. Meanwhile, conservatives get themselves wrapped up into an absolute frenzy over something like the war on Christmas, something that clearly doesn't exist. Christmas is omnipresent and something you can't escape from. Or they will go on about how white people are the real victims in society. These people don't know anything about being a victim. You know, not that many Americans do in the first place, but they are the ones who will take a molehill and turn it into a mountain every single time. The things they get worked up about, It's absolutely disgusting, but at least in some small sense it's amusing. Alright guys, it's certainly a fun time watching the Trump administration go through its death throes and the coping sessions that his supporters are going through as well. But as amusing as it is, it's also a little bit gross. Everything they tried to do to subvert our democracy, but it looks like it'll all be over soon. Anyway, thanks for watching the video guys, and until next time.